Welcome to the Sci-Fi Horror and Fantasy Show podcast. And now, here's your host, Ron Donahue.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Sci-Fi Horror and Fantasy Show podcast. I'm your host, Ronald Donahue, and tonight I'm joined by my co-host, Ms. Gigi Garcia.
Hi, guys. Happy to be back.
Mr. Mario Lazo.
Buenas noches.
And Mr. Jeff McIntosh.
Hola.
So how's everybody doing? I know we missed last week. We had a couple people not feeling well, and even this week I was not feeling well yesterday, actually. But how's everybody doing? Everybody good?
I'm still recovering from my sickness, but other than that, I'm having a happy Saturday.
Your voice sounds great, Gigi.
Thank you.
You got your voice back.
I did. I'm happy about it.
And everybody else good?
Yeah, great.
All right.
Gigi, was your sickness, was that one of the ones that you get like on a Monday and by Friday you're all better?
No. I started getting sick on Thursday night.
So you were looking for that long weekend. I remember those days.
No. Oh, you caught me. Kidding.
All right. Well, let's get started, shall we? So, Gizmodo is reporting that with these allegations, now these sexual conduct, misconduct with Neil Gaiman, there's a lot of different people that are cutting ties with him. One being Dark Horse Comics is cutting ties with him. Dark Horse states, they made a statement saying that we take seriously the allegations against him and are no longer publishing his works. Now, DC and Marvel Comics, they haven't made any comments yet because, he does a lot of work for them as well. Now, earlier this month, Vulture published an extensive report that detailed a lot of details about the alleged abuse that he did to his victims. It says the story was corroborated info that it was revealed late last year through various sources that include some of the victims' testimonies. So now, along with the comic books and all, the Amazon had a series, The Anazi Boys is an adaptation from a comic. He wrote episode number 6 for that. But they said after the alleged allegations came out, they're going to end the series much sooner. And even the other series that he was involved with called Good Omens, they said they're going to end that entire series with a 90-minute special. Netflix is trying to figure out how it's going to handle the series, The Sandman, their second season. They've, like I say, as far as DC and Marvel, everybody has been really quiet about this. So what is your take on this? Do you think that these companies are doing the right thing, seeing that these really bad allegations have been made against him? What do you think, Gigi? Are they doing the right thing?
I would say so. But at the same time, separating the art and the artists, I don't know. It's like the companies don't want to have a bad rep,
Of course.
So I can kind of understand where they're coming from, but at the same time, should we separate the art from the artists? That's the thing that I'm thinking about right now.
Okay. I'll give you my two cents, but I'm going to ask everybody else. So what do you think, Mario? Do you think they're doing the right thing?
Well, number one, I hadn't heard about it until you said it. And secondly, I don't know. I mean, that's really hard, to be honest with you. In regards to allegations, when were these allegations brought to light? Number one, who made the allegations? And 3, have they been investigated?
Yeah, I mean, it's a number of victims came forward that, and I guess they all basically all of their stories vibed, because I think that's why all of these different companies are taking this so seriously. Anybody could make a allegation, but I think that the evidence that's come forward is just so overwhelming. Yeah, everybody's
Yeah.
taking it serious. What do you
No,
think, Jeff? You think they're making?
I understand.
Yeah.
I understand what you're saying.
Mhm.
But has there been a criminal investigation?
Not as of yet that I understand. I didn't read anything about anything criminal yet.
So when did this happen in his life, or what? That's what I'm trying to figure out.
Yeah. That I'd have to get back with you on, because I'm not sure about that. How far this goes back. But think about it. There have been other people as well who these sexual allegations came. What's the name of the guy that was on Netflix? House of Cards.
Kevin Spacey.
Right.
Oh my God, Kevin Spacey.
Yeah, you remember? And
Yeah.
so when the allegations came out, he hadn't been arrested or anything, but the fact that the allegations came out, man, they cut ties with that guy like he had the plague or something.
How about in regards to Kevin Spacey, was there anything civilly brought against him?
Yeah, he had at least one case brought against him in the UK, and it got dismissed.
Oh wow, I did not know that.
See, I found out about one, and I liked the TV show, but I've got so many that I watch now that it's not even funny. It's called Tokyo Vice, and she said that I'm sorry to say it, but the only white guy in the show, would they say, Gigi, that he pedophile?
Oh, no, he's a pedophile. Yeah.
Okay. See, I wasn't aware of that.
What do you say about it, Jeff? I mean, what do you think about these different companies that are it's a lot of different companies that are totally cutting ties with Gaiman. What do you think about it?
Well, the first off, I want to say, that I've got nothing but sympathy for any of the victims that undergo any kind of sexual abuse or sexual misconduct, because in a lot of times, and Gigi, because you're female, maybe you can back me on this. It's a power differential.
Yes.
You've got a guy who's an agent, or he's an actor or a head of a studio, and I can do any damn thing I want. And Gigi, you know what? Too bad you don't like it. So I got that out of the way first. But if I understand where Mario is coming from, and if I do, I agree with his stance. How easy is it to make an allegation? How easy is it for me to go to somebody and say, Ron touched me, he touched me? And there's no evidence, there's no witnesses, there's no video, there's no audio, there's just my word against Ron. And Ron can be saying, hey, you know what? I've been a married man, I'm a devout Christian. And I could say, well, he touched me. There's nothing. There is nothing there. And I think the reason that these companies cut ties is because they don't want to be seen as being associated with somebody who's a suspected pedophile or a suspected abuser, or in the case of Gaiman, apparently he likes that bondage and discipline stuff from what I've been reading online. And whatever you need to do in your private life, as long as you ain't hurting anybody, then do it. I don't care. But if you've got 50 people coming forward and saying he's touching me, he did this and he did that, one or two people you can say, we'll just watch. But if you've got 40 or 50 people coming and saying, or even a dozen, and they're all saying the same thing, and all their stories are consistent, you know what? Where there's smoke, there's fire.
Now reading here, I'm reading up now. It says that the allegations span 2 decades and concern young women who came in contact with Gaiman. One of them was in New Zealand and said that her thing was it was non-consensual. So it sounds like that was a rape situation with her. There was another one of it says here, she was 18 years old in 2003. She met him at a book signing, said she began a romantic relationship with him when she turned 20. He was in his mid-40s. But the same thing, it was like, in essence, without getting graphic or whatnot, like forcing himself on her sexually, even though she was asking him not to. The guy was just having his way with her.
No is no. I mean, there's no other way to frame that, to make that a good thing. If a woman or a man, whoever, says, "Hey, stop that! I don't like it."
Right.
Then stop it.
Exactly.
And if you don't stop it, then you need to be held accountable. You need to be fired or beaten with sticks out in the backyard. Whatever it happens to be. But you shouldn't abuse your authority.
Okay.
Let me explain my point. In the first month that I was a rookie officer, I had to go and interview 2 rape victims. And that changed my life when I had to talk to them. And they would be sitting in a chair and I would have to kneel down. And when I looked at their eyes, that left, it scarred my mind, my memory. I have no compassion for pedophiles, for rape, not zero. Matter of fact, if it were up to me, I'd be the judge. Yeah, you got 50 years, but you're going to be sitting down now when you go to the bathroom because I'll take that off right off the bat, But, my question is, sometimes, and it's been that lengthy, number one, why? And I understand that I can see it in their eyes that no matter how much therapy they'll provide for these 2 victims that I, had to interview, it's I don't know if it's going to help or not. Now, I could understand that if you have so many victims, out of all of them, when was the one that cried out? How long or how late was it? That's my issue. If the guy is, and I know that a lot of them suffer trauma or, not in this case, I don't believe, family members but, it should have been brought to the forefront to get him off the streets, to put him behind bars,
But I think
but it's not a perfect world.
Right. And Mario, from what I've always seen from women, because it's a high majority out of 100 women, how many women at one time or another in their life have either been raped or been victimized. So I think it's from everything that they say, it's very difficult, to come forward with, and I understand what you're saying. Right. I understand exactly what you're saying, because I used to think like that, too, years ago. Like, man, why does it take you so long to come forward? But like a lot of women carry that around with them, because one, they think nothing's going to happen. A lot of times, shame. They think it might have been their fault or something like that. So it's not. I don't think it's just really an easy thing.
Oh, no.
No. I'm not saying you're saying that. No, I'm not saying you're saying that. I'm saying as far as the victims, I just don't think it's really easy for them to come forward like that.
Yeah, like I said, the 2 facial expressions of the 2 young ladies that I interviewed, like I said, I'll never remove those faces from my head. But my concern is that son of a gun was still out there doing it for 20 years.
Right.
That's what gets me sometimes, that I'm saying, and I understand that it's kind of like victims of pedophile or pedophilia. They'll go a lifetime without saying anything, and that's very, very hard.
Yeah,
so that's my concern is, like I said, there's not enough therapy to help them to recover. But on the other hand, I want that guy out. I mean, out literally out of the streets or out of this earth, because he got away with it so long, and that's, I battle with myself with that question. I know that they can't come forward because of the, sometimes the media or the press will say, well, so and so is, no, that's not fair. So I'm like an internal battle with myself in regards to that. Yeah, hey, for as much as the folks that are coming out, or the ladies that are coming out, yeah, hey, because then they get said, well, he was working for, or in association with, this company or something like that. Yeah, that could cause them a downfall. But like I said, if somebody would have said something, and again, I know, hey, how many folks don't have that type of trauma in their life, and they keep it for the rest of their lives, only to seek medical attention. But guys like that shouldn't be walking the face of the earth.
Agreed.
So
Agreed.
We'll see.
So for our listeners, what do you think about this? What do you think that these companies turning, getting rid of him, period, or having no affiliation with him? Do you think they're making the right decision? Drop us an email and let us know. All right, let's move on to something a little bit more.
Hey, wait a second,
shall we?
I got the Sandman series for sale for maybe $5. All 12.
Okay. So next up, we have Image Comics. Image Comics has been, since last year, putting out new series of Universal monsters. The first series they came out with was a retelling of Dracula. The second one was Frankenstein, and the third one, now I might be mixing up the two. It was either Frankenstein was the second one, and the Creature from the Black Lagoon was the third series they came out with, or it might have been vice versa. But now in March of this year, they're coming out with the Mummy, 4-part Mummy series. To me, I don't think that this is coincidental. I know we talked about this a few weeks ago when we were talking. Jeff had even mentioned about Universal and their Dark Universe. I don't think it's coincidental that we're starting to see again on the big screen and comics, they're bringing back all these classic Universal monsters. Now, we also spoke the last show concerning the Wolfman wasn't doing, I mean, it did okay at the box office, not great. It did okay. But the same director is, guess, depending on how it turns out, he's up in line to direct a Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde movie, another one of those Universal monster films. So what's your take on it? What do you think about, do you think this is just a coincidence that you have the comic book companies, you have these different movies coming out for these Universal monsters? Do you think it's a coincidence? Do you think, they just feel, hey, it's great to tap back into these classic monsters again? What do you think about this, Jeff?
Well, I've got a psychiatrist friend that I run into every once in a while, and I'm always curious about what people do. So I asked him one day, why did you want to become a psychiatrist? And his answer was, well, I want to help people. And then the guy starts talking about his billable hours. And in this one particular year, he billed out something like $750,000 in insurance companies. So I listened to that, and somebody says, I became a psychiatrist to help people. But that $750,000 paycheck has got absolutely nothing to do with your desire to help people, right?
Right.
So where I'm going with this is, how they say, like they always say, like on Law and Order, follow the money.
Right.
You get a comic book series, you get the interest developed, you sell a lot of comic books. Universal or Fox or somebody is going to look and say, hey, DC Comics House of Mystery is selling pretty well. Maybe we could ride the coattails on that and make a movie, and everybody will be happy, and we'll get more money. So that's what I kind of think this is. Like I said in other podcasts. It's nice to provide content that people want and like to see, but I also think that it's a cash grab. When they went ahead and they greenlit The Mummy with Tom Cruise.
Right.
I'm sure that they were thinking, Tom Cruise, action movies make a lot of money. Let's throw in a mummy and some Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde type stuff, and everybody will be happy and you'll make a ton of crap. Yeah, well, that didn't happen.
Now, did you, before I ask Gigi and Mario, did you all know that Guillermo del Toro, he's actually coming out with a Frankenstein movie that's supposed to be out sometime this year. It's actually distributed by Netflix, but it's supposed to get a theatrical release. Did you all know about that?
I did not know about that.
No,
Yes.
you didn't?
No.
No, I didn't.
Sounds interesting though.
So now, Gigi, let me ask you, what do you think about that? Now, like I say, you're seeing all these Universal monsters. You have Universal Studios doing their Dark Universe. You have these different companies coming out with these, once again, Universal monsters, and we're hearing about all these different Universal monsters, coming out. Do you think it's a coincidence? Why do you think that there's like a resurgence again of an interest in these classical Universal monsters?
Well, I don't really believe in coincidences. I feel like people in my generation want to, delve into these stories, these, Universal monsters, because, not many people know about them, or if they do, they've never seen the originals.
Right.
So, like having it in a comic book form, I'm for it. Totally for it.
What do you think about it, Mario? Once again, they're coming out, and even as we're talking now, I see that there's a Bride, I'm assuming Bride of Frankenstein movie that's supposed to be released September 26th of this year, starring Maggie Gyllenhaal. Christian Bale is in it, Penelope Cruz, Peter Skarsgård, Annette Bening.
Oh, that's a stacked cast.
Exactly,
Wow.
And it's distributed
Where
by.
did you say
It's Warner Brothers is going to be distributing it. So again, what are you thinking about this? What do you think, Mario? I mean, is it a coincidence that you're seeing all these Universal, like this interest in Universal Studio monsters coming back to life again?
I don't mind, because I did enjoy the original movies. Like I said, but I'm real finicky in regards to reprisals. And if they, and again, I'll let somebody else see it first, or what you read about it, and so on and so forth. I think it's a good idea, because it's been a length. Okay, so when's the last time I saw The Bride of Frankenstein? Well, I don't believe I've seen it in any other movie. I was going to say, no, she was in Young Frankenstein, but no, she wasn't, I don't think. Was she?
That was your last marriage, wasn't it, Mario? Bride of Frankenstein?
Which one?
Which one? Didn't they have a Bride movie with Sting?
Yes.
Oh, yes. Wow. Yeah. You're right.
I think that's the last one I kind of remember.
Yeah, but that was what, back in the mid-'80s?
Yeah.
Early 80s?
Yeah. I think so.
Because that's when he was, popular. But I don't mind. I encourage it. But it's got to be one that they spend their money on and get a good, cast for it. Because, like I said, and you just brought up one, but other than that, how many have you seen? They've made a couple of Frankenstein movies, and some of them were, okay. But I'd encourage it, to be honest with you. I'd encourage it.
That Bride movie, the Bride movie came out in 1985, directed by Frank Rodham, starring Sting, Jennifer Beals, Geraldine Page, and Clancy Brown.
The closest, was it Universal that came out with Van Helsing? With what's his name? That actor that
Wolverine.
Jackman.
Yeah, Hugh Jackman.
Hugh Jackman.
Yeah.
And they didn't continue with that. So I said, well, that's kind of
it wasn't a great movie.
Awful movie.
Yeah, it's a horrible movie.
Yeah, I mean, you got to realize, the CGI wasn't as it is today, and
I don't think CGI could have saved that movie, Mario. That was just a terrible movie.
Hey, wait a second, I kind of liked it. Okay.
Did you really?
Yeah, I mean, when he goes into the town, and what were they, those sirens or whatever they were?
Brides of Dracula.
Wait, Mario, I thought you hated CGI.
No, in some instances I don't mind, but I don't know. I mean, I'm okay. Number one, and what I'm trying to say is that I respect if you have an actor that has passed away, don't bring him back through CGI.
Okay, I 100%.
That that I kind of find disrespectful, because let's face it, if it's not for CGI, we really have very few actors that qualify as true actors, like actors we had in the 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s. So
I disagree with you, Mario. I disagree with you there. I think there's a number of great actors out there right now. Now, they might not be in the movies that we're talking about, the horror, horror, sci-fi, fantasy, but I think there's a number of extremely great actors out there right now.
Okay, this is my tennis volley backwards, and sadly, there war movies like A Bridge Too Far and The Great Escape. Even the motorcycle scene on The Great Escape wasn't CGI, and you had great actors, Steve McQueen, a slew of them in that movie. The same with A Bridge Too Far. You had Sean Connery, a slew of British actors, and then she won't know who these are. Robert Redford, Ryan O'Neal, James Caan.
I feel so called out.
No, but do you know who they are? They're great actors.
No.
They're great actors. They can act. James Caan. Here, I'll give you a perfect movie that it won an Oscar, the first and second movie. It was The Godfather.
Okay, but then too, now again, we're going back and we're merely talking about right. There were some great actors in those. Now I can tell you who was a great actor that actually was in sci-fi was Charlton Heston.
Yeah.
He was in the Planet of the Apes movies. There were a number of different actors who did sci-fi back then.
Soylent Green.
Right. Soylent Green. He was in that too.
Quite a few movies. Oh,
exactly.
The one I always mention is the Omega Man.
Right. You have that. So that's what I'm saying. I think that there's some great. I think that anytime you go back. So let's say Soylent Green. So we're talking about back in the that come out in the 60s? That was the 60s when that came out, right?
Okay. You're talking about the first I Am Legend?
Right. So let's go back. We're talking about 55 years. I'm sure that you're going to have people 55 years from now that are looking at some of our movies like, wow, they don't make movies like that anymore. And I give you a perfect example why I'm saying that. I actually was a kid and watched the first Star Wars. My neighbor across the street took me and her son to go see it. So what I just find is so funny when I'll talk to people much younger than me, like, oh man, I just saw Star Wars. And I'm like, yeah, which ones? Oh, the first episode, the second one, the third one. I'm like, yeah, you can kind of throw those out in the trash. Go watch the original Star Wars movies. So
No, keep episode 3.
Oh, see, there you go. There you go. See, you see what I'm saying? So that's what I'm saying. I think that people are always going to be fun. Look at me. I love Tron. I love that movie. And I don't think now, if I mention Tron now, everybody's thinking, oh, the one with Jared Leto. No, I'm not talking about that one. I'm talking about the original 1980s Tron movie. I think we always are going to be able to look back, no different than when I was a kid. My dad used to always say, "Oh, they don't make music like they used to." Yeah, thank God. You know what I mean? Because you're thinking about music back from what 30 years ago. So I think as far as we're always going to look back, we'll always be fond of those movies. But I don't think it takes away from some of the great films and some of the great actors that we have now and some of the work that they do.
Oh, no. Yeah, I understand that point. But I believe that the bulk of the folks go to the theater to see eye candy also. They're expecting to see some flashbang or some, illusion along with the actor.
Right.
So that's my concern is that, how many of these actors, I'm sure there's quite a few that can survive without having that as a background. Like, let's say, to make a movie like To Kill a Mockingbird, there's no flashbang in that or no eye candy, as I call it.
Uh-huh.
How many actors can do that? Hold an audience like that.
Right. Well, let me ask our viewers or listeners, what do you all think? Do you think it's a coincidence that these movie studios and comic book companies everybody's tuning into these classics, horror icons, your Draculas, your werewolves, your Frankensteins, mummies? Is it a coincidence? What do you think? Send us an email and let us know. All right, let's move on. This summer of 2025, Hulu is going to bring about a brand new Alien series. It's called Alien Earth. It's actually a prequel that takes place 2 years before the 1979 Alien movie. Its executive producer is Ridley Scott. The premise of it is a mysterious spacecraft crashes into Earth. A young woman and a ragtag group of tactical officers make a fateful discovery that puts them face to face with the planet's greatest threat. And it takes place in the year 2120. Now, the funny thing is, I did find out was that I was curious. Do you all remember the Alien versus Predator movie with Sanaa Lathan that came out?
Yeah.
No.
You never saw that one, Gigi?
I've never seen anything related to the aliens.
Okay.
I just want to tell the audience that. I'm sorry.
Oh, wait a minute. I thought you saw the 79 movie.
For Alien, no.
Okay. Well,
Millennial.
Alien versus Predator came out in 2004. And so I was interested in finding out because I had questions when I heard the premise of this series coming out. I'm like, aliens coming to Earth. But what I found out was Alien versus Predator is actually canon to the Alien series. Now, it takes place, probably 200 years prior than the original Alien movie, which takes place in 2120, maybe 100 and some years, 115 years prior. But you remember cover your ears, Gigi, if you don't want to hear the plot. Remember the whole premise was there was this pyramid that was built in, I guess it was in Antarctica or somewhere freezing cold. And that's where the predators would test their skills because they had aliens in there and the predator had to go in there and survive fighting off all them aliens, right? So the aliens were already here on Earth. But I guess everybody doesn't know about that pyramid, obviously enough, because when these military people go to investigate, it's like, oh, we know who these xenomorphs are. They don't know who they are. So anyway, that was just a sidebar. What do you think, Jeff? What do you think about this new series coming out?
I don't know. How many times can you go to the well and get a drink of water and have it taste different? I mean, I like the Alien series. I just finished watching Alien Romulus on Hulu.
Oh, that's a great movie.
A couple of nights ago, and Really enjoyed that.
Yes.
I tried to watch I tried to watch Prometheus, and I guess like
they're roughly, even though you see that company, was it Wayland in there, we'll be in here in a couple hours talking about that Prometheus and how it relates to Alien and whatnot. But anywho, so you saw Prometheus, but anyway, you're not so much sold on this new series.
No, I mean, they did. Who was it? Hulu or Prime? I can't remember which one. I'm going to say Hulu.
Uh-huh.
They did Prey.
Yeah, that movie is
no.
awesome. That's Predator.
Was...
That's not Alien. That's Predator.
Oh, well then,
Nevertheless, it was still an awesome movie.
I don't know about like a weekly series. I think like if maybe every couple of months they throw something out and say, hey, we've got like a 2-hour movie. That might be one thing, but I don't know that they can keep up the suspense and the attacks and the bloodshed and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, every frickin' week.
Yeah, I mean, I feel comfortable the fact that at least Ridley Scott had. Well, let me take that back now, because Ridley Scott, wasn't he the executive producer on Prometheus?
Well, next thing you know, that somebody's going to say, you know what, he touched me.
And I'll just say this. You know what? I'm in the middle right now. I'm not like overly enthused about it, but at the same time, if they still go along the same lines as they did with Romulus, then I think they're on a roll. I think this could actually turn out kind of good. Now, Gigi, I know you said you haven't seen any of the Alien movies, but what do you think about the premise in itself, though? Knowing that, let me tell you something. Xenomorphs are the scourge of the universe. Okay. Whatever world universe though they're in, there's a series out now. A comic series, the Avengers versus the Aliens, right?
Ooh.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Sounds pretty dope.
Yeah, it is. And so they're to say that they're badass, it's kind of like an understatement. These things are they're kill machines, basically. They're horrible kill machines, but they're animals, right? They're sentient beings, or whatever you want to call them. But what do you think about this premise? It's 2 years before the original movie takes place, and here on Earth, spaceship crash, investigate, boom. Now they got to sit there. This ragtag group has got to fight to make sure that these aliens don't spread throughout the planet. What do you think?
Feels like a been there, done kind of situation, maybe like a cash grab almost.
Because of the name, because of the the affiliation with the Alien storyline.
Yeah, like been there, done that. That's how I feel. I mean, I can probably tune in and watch it. And you said it was a prequel, correct?
Right. It actually takes place. This whole story is going to take place on Earth 2 years before the 19. Oh, I just thought about something.
What?
I love how they do this. I love how they'll take a story like the original Alien came out 45 years ago.
Okay.
But they'll start a new modern series and somehow tie it in to the original series years ago, making it seem like it still takes place. It is taking place in that same universe around that time. This is where I'm coming from. Check this out, Jeff. Something just hit. You know how in Aliens, the second one, you know how interested they were in actually getting one of those aliens brought back to Earth, right?
Yes.
I figure they must have already found out about the aliens from this situation that happened on Earth. Because remember now, this series is taking take place 2 years prior than the original Alien movie. And even in the original Alien movie, you remember the robot dude
Yeah.
Basically,
the
everybody.
android.
Well,
The android.
everybody was expendable. They wanted one of those aliens to be brought back to Earth. So maybe this is the jump off point, right? Oh, maybe sometime I surprise myself.
I think Ron just guessed the whole plot
I
of the
think I
show.
did. Wow.
I know. I know how we
Yeah.
could get this. I know how we could get Gigi and the other millennials to watch the Alien movies.
How?
Well, they could come to Earth and they could open up like a Starbucks.
Oh my God.
Jeff, first of all, I'm Gen Z. Get it. I ain't no millennial.
Wow.
Well, I'm old and I don't get all those new sociological terms like
Oh, that's right. You're boomer.
I mean, like I'm the oldest guy here.
Okay. Good to know.
Well, anyway, for our listeners, what do you guys think? Are you excited about this? I tell you one thing, this Alien Earth coming out summer 25 will be out before the last season of Stranger Things. So it'll give us something to watch. Because
I would watch it. I would at least watch the first episode, and then after that, if it didn't grab me, it would just be
Yeah, I gotcha. So what do you think, our listeners? What are you thinking? Are you interested? Does it sound like something? Would you think it's a good idea to come out with the first series for the Alien property? Drop us an email. Let us know what you think, and we'll bring it up on our show. So we've come to the point of our show now as for the question of the week.
Yay.
Yay. So this week's question of the week is, name a horror, sci-fi, or fantasy film that's ending was totally unexpected, left you totally surprised, and just had your head blown from the ending. What is your movie, Gigi?
Oh, hands down, Hereditary.
Hereditary.
Yes.
Okay. So tell us, what was the about the ending that just completely, blew your mind?
Well, I'm gonna go back to the beginning of the movie. It
Okay.
just started off as a psychological horror.
Okay.
But then towards the end, it reveals like Peter's transformation. He becomes essentially Satan.
Okay.
And it's such a cool transformation. It was super unsettling and I was shocked.
Oh, so okay. Well, thank you. You just explained that movie to me because I could not understand that movie at all.
Oh, really?
Yeah, now you explained it. I didn't even think. Okay, we'll talk, Gigi, because you got to explain something else to me.
Just to jump in, he did not become Satan. He became one of the kings of hell.
Paimon. Yeah, I mean, you know what I mean.
Okay, so how come he was crying like a baby then?
What do you mean crying like a baby?
Wasn't he crying? Wasn't there a scene at the end when he was crying? Yeah, it was.
You mean in the classroom?
I don't. You know what? Whatever. I don't know. I don't know. It's been so long since I've seen that movie. Okay, whatever. So that's Gigi's movie, Hereditary. Yes. Okay, Mario, what's your movie that had a total unexpected ending and left you totally surprised?
Hide and Seek.
Okay, Hide and Seek. Now,
none of y'all have seen it, right?
No, I've never seen it.
Never seen it.
And that's what type of movie is that, Mario?
It's a horror movie.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. It came out in 2000. Oh, I did see that movie.
Okay. Do you remember the end?
I saw it. Yes, I do. Robert De Niro. Now, you know what's funny? I always thought that movie was rather good.
Yeah.
I want you guys to guess right now. I'm going to make it a little bit easier for you. This is really sad. But the Rotten Tomato score for this movie, I'm going to see whoever gets closest to it wins the prize. But I'm going to make it easy for you. It's less than 20% right now.
Ooh, okay.
Okay. What's your guess, Gigi?
I'm going to guess 13%.
Oh, that's it. Game over. She won.
Stop.
Damn, okay.
13%. She won.
I want to tell the audience I did not Google this. It's just something.
We saw you.
My...
So here. Let me just, for anybody who hasn't seen it, let me just share the premise of this movie. It says, following the suicide of his wife, Amy Irving, Oh, that's I guess the actress. Psychologist David Calloway, who's played by Robert De Niro, decides to take his daughter Emily, Dakota Fanning, away from New York City to a house in the country for a fresh start. Unfortunately, Emily is too grief-stricken to really appreciate her new surroundings, and she hasn't made any friends, save Charlie, who is imaginary. When Charlie begins to harbor resentment toward David, an already bad situation gets worse. That's funny. I mean, I thought it wasn't a great movie, but it was a good movie anyway. It's kind of funny that it has such a low rating right now. Wow.
And you said the rating was from Rotten Tomatoes?
Yeah, Rotten Tomatoes score of 13%. Wow.
What's IMDb's rating, though? That's the one I trust.
IMDb is 5.9 out of 10.
Okay, that's not bad.
That's a big discrepancy, though, really, between the two.
Yeah,
that's
it
a
is.
huge discrepancy. So we have Hereditary from Gigi. We have Hide and Seek from Mario. What do we have for you, Jeff?
Well, I grew up on comics. And, of course, probably one of my top 5 superheroes, Batman.
Okay.
Now, I'm not going to talk about the first Batman with Michael Keaton and Jack Nicholson, because I'm kind of on that one. However, Batman Returns with Michelle Pfeiffer.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely love that. Got to be the best Batman film. I don't care what anybody's got to say about Christian Bale. Batman Returns is the most perfect Batman film. At the end of the movie where Catwoman essentially kills herself and kills Max Schreck, and then Bruce Wayne and Batman leave and they're driving home, and you see Catwoman's profile on the roof. You know, I just thought that, wow, you know, what the hell? And just kind of shocked and blew me away. That I thought she was dead at the end of Batman Returns, but no.
Oh, I remember. Yeah. I don't remember that. Who played him? What's that guy's name?
Which guy? Penguin?
The creepy actor. No. What was his name? The guy who she killed?
Max Schreck.
Shrek, right? The guy who played him. What's that actor's name?
Oh, you'd have to. Yeah, I'm blanking. I know who you mean.
I can see his face. I just can't.
The guy who was a Saturday Night Live on the cowbell sketch.
Yeah, right.
Everybody knows that one, except me. I can't think of his name.
I see his picture right now. Hold on. Christopher Walken.
Yes.
Yeah, it's Christopher Walken.
Oh yeah.
Right. Okay, yeah, right. You know, Jeff. Okay, now I remember. I know exactly what you're talking about. Right. And it seemed like she died with him, but then possibly, even though we never saw her again, but possibly she may have survived. So yeah, that's true. That's a good one. Okay. Yeah. My movie is the Stephen King movie, The Mist. The very ending, which, okay, spoiler alert for anybody who hasn't seen it, you can go ahead and turn it off now. Turn down the radio for a few minutes. The ending was so jacked up. Oh my gosh, it was like just heart-wrenching, where all hope was lost, right? The actor Thomas Jane, he's in the car with his wife and his kid, a couple other people that they were in a car. They're thinking, okay, man, this is it. There's no way we can survive at this point. These monsters that the government playing around, open up another dimension, whatever, and we're toast. There's nothing else we can do. We're doomed. So he had a gun. So basically, everybody was in agreement: just kill us. We'd rather just die than, go on living in this horrific new world with all these monsters and stuff. And so he goes around and he kills everybody. He kills the people that were in the back of the car, kills his wife, kills his son. And just when he's getting ready to off himself, I guess he hears this noise or whatever, right? The fog is still around, but then the fog starts kind of like thinning out a little bit. And then the next thing you know, the military's coming through. They're actually, the town where all this was going on, they're actually evacuating the people from the town. So, they're up under the protection of the military now. And you see the military with flamethrowers killing these flying monsters and these spider monsters that were bought from this other dimension, with the government screwing around with stuff they had no business screwing around with. But
that sounds familiar.
Yeah. And so after all is said and done, I think he got outside of the car. Yeah, he did. I think he got outside of the car, and I think he was trying to kill himself, but he was out of bullets or something. I think that's how it ended. But either or, that was just like such a mind, because it's like, oh my gosh, if he had just waited 30 seconds more, a minute more, he wouldn't have had to kill everybody in the car and his wife and son. That was a crazy ending. That was a completely nuts ending.
Yeah, it sounds crazy.
Yeah, that's a good movie, Gigi.
Yeah.
And matter of fact, they even had a series. The series wasn't bad, to be honest with you. It was okay. It took place. I think, in the same town, but just most of the story for the movie took place in kind of like a grocery store.
Okay.
They did start making their way out of this grocery store, or whatever, trying to get away from this mist. The other series they had, I think they were like in a shopping mall, same town, but they were like in a shop, like a huge mall, but still going through the same crazy stuff with the mist and the monsters that were out there. It's nutso, man. Crazy, crazy movie. Well, that brings us to the end of our show. I want to thank my host this evening. Thank you for our listeners for tuning in once again. Good night, and hope to see you all next week.
Good night.
Good night, and have a pleasant tomorrow.